You are listening to A Scary State, and this week we have Lauren's birthday episode.
Woohoo!
So, Lauren.
Yes, Kenzie.
Let's get scary.
I act excited, but I'm going to be 30 and I don't know if I can handle this.
I'm so excited, mostly because I'm really excited for your gift.
I'm really excited too. So I got a couple little gifts. Mackenzie got me a cute little keychain with a ghosty on it and a little best friend thing. A cup that says 30 and still waiting for my Hogwarts letter. Different flavored popcorn, like a cool little popcorn pack, and then a picture frame with some pictures of us.
Yeah.
It's so cute.
I'm glad you like it. And those are just the mini presents.
I'm very excited.
Those are like the presents you get when you're like looking for presents. You're like, ooh, I like this one. I like this one. Okay, but this is the main one, and I'll just get these on anyway.
Roy's very interested in it too. He's over here. I'm sure his tail can be heard and thumping in the background. You're stuck now, aren't you?
Well, it'll work out because your main gifts will come closer to your birthday.
That is true.
Since for us, it's still, well,
when this is released, it'll be like 3 days
10 days.
before my
There is a
birthday.
fact in here that for us, it's 10 days. Yeah, for them, it'll be 3 days. Yeah.
Roy. Hey.
Yes.
What are you doing? He's stuck. You can't get out, can you?
You can back up, buddy.
He doesn't know how to do that.
Buddy. Come on.
Oh, there we
There you
go. Okay, we'll stay under the table then. All right, let's jump into my birthday facts.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
March 2nd, 1994, day of the week was Wednesday. I did know that fact.
There you go.
Oh, and we record on Wednesdays.
I know, I thought that was so cute.
Oh. Next time you can reuse your old 1994 calendar will be in 2033. Both calendars will be exactly the same. This is assuming you are not interested in the dates for Easter and other irregular holidays that are based on a lunisolar,
I think so, yeah.
calendar. And Mackenzie says there are 10 days left before my next birthday. I will be 30 years old when the day comes. Well, actually, do you know that whatever birthday you're celebrating is technically the year on Earth that you just finished?
Yeah.
Yeah, isn't that weird?
Yeah.
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 Yeah. All right. There have been 10,984 days from the day that I was born up to this current day.
Correct.
If I've been sleeping 8 hours daily since birth. And then Mackenzie goes, I know you haven't, Lauren, but just pretend for this fact.
I was like, if I don't put it, she's going to make a comment that she never sleeps 8 hours every night.
Well, for Orange Theory, one of our challenges was to record our sleep.
LOL.
Oh my God, mine was like 6.5 hours. 7:02, 6, 4.5. I'm like, oh my God. All right, so if I slept 8 hours daily since birth, then I would have slept a total of 3,649 days, 9.99 years. So sleeping 33% of my life.
Yes.
That is
I think that's a
lot.
consistent fact, though, too. I think no matter what your age is, you have always slept for 30, like a third of your life.
I guess that does make sense.
Yeah.
Because if you, getting all mathematical, if you split your day.
We're so good at that.
8 or 20,
24.
24 divided by 8 is 3.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're always sleeping 8 hours, that's 3% of your day.
Correct.
So 3% of your life.
I saw on the internet, like, as in, like, social media posts. So, you know, if it sounds good, I'm like, yeah, that's true. I don't actually, like,
No.
some
I don't
things,
fact check. Well,
some things I'm like, no way, and I'll fact check it. But then other things I'm like, yeah, I like that fact, so I'm not going to go look up to see if it's true.
Right.
But I saw one where apparently, because as we all know, medical studies have always been used with men.
Yes.
And so apparently, they recently found out that women should be getting like 9 to 10 hours.
I saw that.
Right?
And I try to tell Joe this because I swear I've heard it somewhere else. And I said, I actually need more sleep than you. Just saying.
Like whenever I get 8 hours and like, you know, my dad will always be like, that's great. You got 8 hours. I'm like, but I'm so fucking tired.
I think here's why. Women can multitask better than men.
We use more brain power.
We
during
use
the
more
day.
brain power. My mom likes to say it. She's like, women, pretend your brain is like blocks, like little, like
Oh my
cubes.
God, I hit my head yesterday.
Because that relates.
Well, you're talking about your brain and you were pointing at your head and it just reminded me. No, and I'm like, the only reason why I bring it up is because it was really, really hard.
So then you probably knocked some of those blocks away.
Exactly. Like it was one of those times you hit your head and you just have to sit there and just like, I had to drive home and I was like, I'm not concussed, am I? Like I felt it in my teeth.
Oh, I know exactly the kind of pain.
I'm not going to get too close because I know you like to poke my bruises and this would really fucking hurt. But I have a little bruise.
Okay,
right
I won't
here.
poke it, I promise.
It's not like a dark bruise, but it's like right up here and there's like a bump. You
Move
can
your hand.
feel the bump, feel the bumps.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Mackenzie.
Oh my God, it was so bad. Sorry, continue. I wanted to tell you and I forgot until you started doing hand
Pointing at my
movements
head.
around your head.
So, Mom likes to say that you have like little like cubes in your head, right?
Okay.
And so men, they'll be in one cube when they think about something.
Sure.
They don't go into any other cubes when they think about something.
Absolutely.
Everything is focused in this cube.
Yeah.
Women will be in this cube, but we're also in this one, but our hands also in this one, and our feet are in this one.
Right.
So we're constantly thinking of everything. Men, just this.
Correct.
Yeah. That's why we need more
Single,
sleep.
Narrow focused minds.
Yes.
Yeah. That would make sense. And you know, we have to deal with our audacity every day. So
All right, since night and day always follow each other, there were precisely 370 full moons after you were born up to this day. How many of them did I see? There was one time in college, I had to take pictures.
Band camp.
I had to take pictures of the moon for one of my classes.
Oh, I remember that.
And I had to get them in every phase. Well, I remember I came down to visit you during one of the weekends.
You had to take a picture of
I had to stand outside and take a picture of the moon. But listen to how smart I was. And you only have a month to do it. So if you miss one phase, like
You're fucked.
you're done.
Yeah.
Well, what I would do is if I missed a phase, I would take a picture of the opposite phase and flip the photo.
Genius.
And then that's how I sent them in, and I passed. All right, so some historical events on March 2nd. In 1877, Alexander Graham Bell invents the practical telephone.
Mm-hmm.
19
You got some cool facts.
Yeah. 1917, the enactment of the Jones-Shawfroth Act grants Puerto Ricans United States citizenship.
Which I know at this point is contested of whether or not that's a good thing, but I thought it was cool.
Why is it contested?
Because they don't have like voting rights and things
Right.
like that. So I think people are starting to be like, just let them govern themselves or give them more rights, whatever, either way.
Right.
So,
But you don't need a passport to go there, so that's kind of cool.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For now.
For now.
In 1933, the release of the musical 42nd Street on Broadway. 1949, the first non-communist government in Eastern Europe is established in Czechoslovakia. Czechoslovakia! I was like, damn, I got this. And then...
That's so funny.
1955, Tennessee Williams' play Cat on a Hot Tin Roof debuts on Broadway, receiving critical acclaim and becoming a classical of American theater. Have you seen it?
Mm-mm.
Me either.
Yes, I have.
Oh.
But it was like a high school play.
Oh.
And I was young, and I don't even know why the fuck my dad made me and my sister go. I did not understand a goddamn thing that was going on.
Oh.
The whole time I was waiting for a cat. And I'm like, what the fuck does this have to do with a cat on a roof? Like, I was young enough that everything was literal.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, this has nothing to do with a cat on a roof.
I have no idea what it's even about. And I guess you don't either.
Well, it's either this one or a different one, but I think it's this one that has something to do with like, it's like a Jewish family and some sort of problem with that. If it's
Maybe that's
not,
why your dad took you.
maybe, but he really, I mean, I was like younger than 10,
Aw.
somewhere between like 8 and 10.
He wanted you guys to be cultured.
Yeah, but I still don't understand what was going on. Is either that one or there's a different one. I don't know. And I think it's something about like,
Neither of them stuck, apparently.
no. And the only reason I knew about the whole possibility it's about like a Jewish family or something is because years later I finally figured out what the plot was. And obviously I don't remember.
Right, I was going to say.
But at one point I knew it.
That's all that matters.
And I remember thinking back and I was like, I never would have associated what the fuck they were doing on that stage with whatever story I found out that it may be about. I don't even know.
Well,
It's not about a cat.
that is what we have come to figure out. All right, so in 1956, Dr. Jonas Salk announced the development of the polio vaccine. Nice.
Yeah.
1974, the legendary band ABBA wins the Eurovision Song Contest with their hit song Waterloo, launching their international career.
When I tell you that after I put that fact in, how much Waterloo was stuck in my head, and I only know that part apparently. Waterloo. Da-na-na-na. Like I
promise to love you forever.
I used to know the words, and
I know
was
you
like,
did.
Well, they're gone now.
Because we used to sing
it all the
always.
time. Yes, we were those people.
Yeah, unfortunately. It was always after the New York trip.
Okay, but we weren't the most obnoxious people.
We weren't.
We didn't sing the most. We just went through like a little excitement phase.
Yeah.
And then we stopped.
And then we were done.
Yeah.
We didn't keep singing.
Correct.
Or have you sing down the hallway where everyone can hear you and you look and you're like, who is that singing?
Did I tell you about the time that we were getting ready for some play? Might have been Cinderella, but I can't remember. No, it was Pink Panther. So
I actually had lines in that one.
I didn't know if you were in that one since it was in the fall. It was not in the fall?
It was always the spring.
Because usually we had the fall and the play in the fall and the musical in the spring.
This was
it was flipped?
Which one? Elizabeth.
Right. Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so.
But yeah, I was the hotel person who
yes, we have that picture together.
Who had the German accent, yeah.
Yes. I was
in that case, with all due respect. That's all I remember.
I had 4 lines as the cook, and then I was the British assassin.
No.
With my cute little skimpy outfit that I was like, this is not school appropriate. But anyway, so the guy who played the the detective, we were in the black box getting ready, and he wouldn't fucking stop singing. And I looked at him and I was like, I'm not saying your voice is bad, but shut the fuck up. I am so tired of hearing you sing. You don't need to sing every 2 seconds.
Yup. And it's like, they do have good voices.
Don't get me wrong.
But it's like, stop.
Your voice is about to not become good because I'm going to get so annoyed fucking hearing it.
I'm going to punch you in the throat.
I was like, I'm going to shove a goddamn sock down your throat if you don't shut up. Like, I can't fucking have it.
Yes.
And
no.
He's a nice guy too, so I felt kind of bad for being like a little bitchy, but I was like, shut up.
Yes. Yeah. No, I get it.
Yeah.
All right. In 1990, South African President F.W. de Klerk announced the unbanning of political parties and the release of Nelson Mandela, leading to the end of apartheid. Did you know? I don't know where I was going with this. Nelson Mandela is why we have the Mandela effect?
Yes.
Yeah. We should go over that one day.
The Mandela effect?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's an interesting one.
There's the movie that has Matt Damon that's like kind of about that. I forget what it's called, but it's a really good movie.
Oh, people are probably screaming the answer.
Yeah, right. But it was a really good movie. It had like rugby in it and everything.
Oh, interesting.
And it kind of goes into a little bit more about Nelson Mandela, like not so much why he was put in jail and things like that, but more so like afterwards, like what happened. Yeah, and like
because he did not die in jail.
No, he did not. No, he got released.
Right.
He became president of
Yes.
South Africa.
1993, Branch Davidian cult leader David Koresh promises to surrender if taped statements are broadcasted. But as we all know, he doesn't.
That's the only bad one you have.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not a... Oh, not good.
No.
1994, I was born!
Woohoo!
In 1995, the DVD format was officially announced, revolutionizing home entertainment. And then 1998, data sent from the Galileo spacecraft indicates that Jupiter's moon Europa has a liquid ocean under a thick crust of ice. Very cool.
An ocean means oxygen, which means life.
Well, potentially.
Possibly.
See, I know how they're like, oh, it's like science for life, which I get.
Mm-hmm.
But why do we think that's the only thing that can make life?
I ask that all the fucking time.
Right. It's like, that's our life.
That's our life.
That's great. But it could be some, like another person could have, or alien, whatever. Nitrogen, helium, any other gas.
Maybe elements we haven't even discovered yet.
Probably elements we haven't even discovered yet.
I'm like, the way they phrase that of like, oh, there was no signs of life. I'm like, how do you know?
Right, how
what
do you know?
constituting as life?
Yup.
Yes. No, I have that. Yes.
Yup. All right, so some famous birthdays on my birthday. 1968, Daniel Craig, an English actor, was born.
James Bond.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
1962, John Bon Jovi. I like how you...
Oh, this
put
goes
who
in
they were.
descending order, by the way.
Oh,
The
okay.
dates.
If you didn't know who he is, he's an American songwriter and singer, guitarist, producer, actor. Oh, God. Okay. 1931, Mikhail Gorbachev.
Yeah.
Soviet lawyer, politician, president of the Soviet Union, Nobel Prize laureate.
Yeah, I did
What does
not
that
realize he won a
the-
Nobel Prize
Oh.
in a category.
Oh. That's interesting.
Yeah.
1904, Dr. Seuss, American author, poet, and illustrator. We recognize the things about him that are problematic, but Ted Bundy was born on Mackenzie's birthday, and we included him, so. But Dr. Seuss, every year on my birthday, we would have Read Across America Day, which is when we would literally dress up in PJs, bring pillows and blankets to school, and just read all day.
So
my favorite day ever.
So I almost put that as like, yes, I know he's problematic, but he's also the reason we have Read Across America Day, and that is important.
And we would eat green eggs and ham at school. Oh,
and it's not all of his stories. Now, granted, you don't need all stories to be problematic to be a problem.
Yeah, some are not great.
But they are really good for building phonological awareness with children.
Yes.
So
and then 1900
just pretend it was written by somebody else.
Yeah. Okay. 1900, Kurt Weill, a German and American composer. So some famous deaths. And Mackenzie says she doesn't know a single person on this list.
Not a single soul.
So 1999, Dusty Springfield, English singer and producer. 1991, Sergei Gainsbourg, French singer-songwriter, actor, and director. 1982, Philip K. Dick, American author. 1930, D.H. Lawrence, English novelist. And then 1619, Anne of Denmark.
I guess she's implied that she's like a queen.
I didn't know any of them either.
All right.
So we're good there.
I knew Dr. Seuss was on your birthday, and the websites I was looking at, I was like, they're not mentioning him. And I did not know who these other people were.
Yeah.
I was like, give me people that we know.
Yeah.
So I at least found people we knew for your birthday.
Oh, good.
The deaths, I was like, I don't know who these people are.
One of the hottest men in the entire world was born on March 1st, Jensen Ackles.
I don't know who that is.
Oh, Mackenzie. He's from Supernatural.
Oh, is he one of the brothers? Is he
The shorter one.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I know who that is.
Yes, he was born a day before me, so I also like to claim him.
He apparently has one of those faces that like is perfect.
Oh, yeah.
Like geometrically speaking.
Yeah, the golden
Not
ratio.
Yes. Not just opinion-wise.
I mean, and he can sing.
Ugh,
He's an actor. He owns a brewery.
lovely.
He can dance. Apparently, he can tap dance. Because I was talking to one of my coworkers about him. I was like, he's actually perfect. And I explained all the things. He goes, well, can he dance? And I looked it up. I said, he can tap dance.
Damn.
Because my coworker's born on that same birthday. And I
Yeah.
was like, well, you're the worst person born on that birthday. This is the best person.
Damn, I hope you didn't say that part.
I did. It's fine.
Oh, man.
It's okay. He has our sticker on his desk. We're good.
Okay.
All right. National holidays on March 2nd. Adwa Victory Day. Okay. We don't know what these mean.
I think that one is like maybe for like a country or something. It seemed like one of the important ones that are out of the ones that are listed on here.
Okay.
But I was like, by this point, I was like, I need to move on. And so I did not go and look up the meaning of any of them unless I really needed to, which you'll see at the bottom.
Okay. American Citizenship Day. Oh, International Rescue Cat Day. Though I am so allergic.
Right.
James Ronald Webster Day, father of Anguilla.
Yeah, that's what it said. I just felt like that needed an explanation, and I didn't
Okay.
go further than that.
Sounds good. National Banana Cream Pie Day. Yum.
Mm-hmm.
National Egg McMuffin Day. Yum. National Old Stuff Day. Amazing. National Walter Day?
Yeah.
What's that?
Just for guys named Walter.
Well, I want a National Lauren Day. Is there a National Lauren
I don't
Day?
know who comes up with these. There's a whole website, though, for national holidays.
National Lauren Day takes place on October 22nd.
Nice. Is there a National Mackenzie Day?
Obviously, that's what I'm looking up next.
That's a no.
Oh, well, because I had to go to Urban Dictionary because it didn't just pop up. So it says the day we all show appreciation to anyone named Mackenzie in our lives. Spell it your way without the capital K, though.
Mhm.
It doesn't say when. And then there's also National Fuck a Mackenzie Day,
Ha!
which is also.
Is there a specific day for that one? Mark
no.
my calendar.
Yeah, no.
Wow.
You don't have a National Mackenzie Day.
Wow.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. Kenzie?
November 3rd.
In November, too! Love
Aw.
that.
Oh, and then on April 13th, it's National Slap a Girl Named Kenzie Day.
That is terrible. and that should be removed from the docket immediately.
That's so bad.
Like,
All right, so November 3rd and April 13th.
you don't need to remember that second one.
I will. It's close.
I know you will.
March 2nd is also Peanut Day.
I'm going to forget and you're going to hit me.
You're going to be so mad. But I'm going to be like, Mackenzie, I'm just celebrating the holiday. Like we said, Read Across America Day, Texas Independence Day.
Which, okay, I almost put a sassy comment in there of like them annexing from the U.S., but I think it actually might have been when they got their independence from Mexico.
Yep, probably.
So I took the sassy comment out.
Toddle Waddle, which is raising money for meningitis. That's so cute. And then World Teen Mental Wellness Day. I like that as well. All right, Mackenzie.
You want to hear your birth chart?
I do.
Okay.
And sorry for people if you think this is long. It's my birthday, so.
Right. You can also feel free to skip ahead if you don't want to listen to it.
Yeah.
So obviously your sun, you know that one.
Mm-hmm.
So the sun determines your ego, identity, and role in life.
People who don't know, it's a Pisces.
I'm going to get there.
Oh, sorry.
It's the core of who you are and is the sun you are most likely to already know. Your sun is in Pisces, meaning you are fundamentally dreamy, insightful, and in your own world. You exist in a chaotic plane of the divine that is not all material. Your rich imagination endows you with a strong intuition for hidden emotional currents. When you take offense, it is deeply, and you aren't necessarily interested in reconciliation. It's in your first house, meaning you feel the need to distinguish yourself from others through yourself and self-image. And because it's in your first house, your sun in Pisces is hyper-present in your personality.
Yeah, I'd say so.
So your rising is also Pisces.
Yep.
So your ascendant or rising is the mask that you present to people. It can be seen in your personal style, how you come off to people when you first meet them. Some say it becomes less relevant as you get older. It changes every 2 hours.
Oh.
So if it doesn't make sense, reconfirm your birth time to be sure. Your rising is in Pisces, meaning you come across as kind, dreamy, imaginative, and sensitive. Most of your actions seem subtle and non-aggressive, and you may sometimes come off as indecisive. Oh my God, yes.
Okay, so then I do think maybe that is the correct birth time.
Oh my God. You are indecisive. Not coming off as indecisive. You are indecisive.
Maybe it's no longer a mask at some point.
Oh my God. Yeah, this is to a T. We have the same moon.
Oh,
Scorpio. Oh, yeah. So the moon rules your emotions, moods, and feelings. This is likely the sign you most think of as yourself, since it reflects your personality when you are alone or deeply comfortable. Your moon is in Scorpio, meaning your emotional self is intense, passionate, and a bit dramatic. You have trouble opening up.
Oh, damn.
And letting other people in.
This is really getting intense here.
And try to keep your intense, darker emotions private. You find it difficult to trust others. God damn. For those of you that don't believe in astrology, you can fuck right off.
This is like to a T.
You find it difficult to trust others, which means your powers of perception may manifest in suspicion and controlling tendencies. It's in your 8th house, meaning you find security and safety through darkness, taboos, rebirth, sex, and transformation.
Wow. So what kind of podcast do we have? True crime, morbid.
Look around
at all of the morbid decorations.
Interesting how that worked out. So I sent this to our podcast email and to all the planets too, like Mercury, whatnot. They're different houses and they're different signs, and it explains what each planet means, and then what the sign is in there, and then what that means for you.
Fun.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you should have it hopefully then.
That email being ascarystatepodcast@gmail.com. All right, so do you want to talk about what we're going to talk about today? And then we'll go into some little stories that you found to give us a nice little appetizer into this case.
Yeah, I like that. So Lauren wanted to do plot twists for her birthday.
Things with a big surprise.
Which we always kind of try to do anyway because those are the most interesting.
They are.
But truly oh my God, I did not see that coming.
Yes.
So I found a couple of cases that are short and they're not really they're sad, but they're not morbid, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, when I read them, my jaw dropped and I felt well, then I have to include it.
So real quick with the plot twist, I told mom mine this morning, real quick. And she's going on and she's giving commentary. And I'm like, she doesn't know. And then I give the twist and she goes, oh my God.
So I was telling my mom about the fact that I had that note that said Rochester, New York, 1981. And my mom was like, well, how do you know it's a plot twist? I said, I don't. I have to look it up.
That was what Mackenzie was going to do for her case today.
Yeah, but it's not a plot twist. It's very straightforward. You know exactly who it is. There's no surprises. And I was like, it could knowing my luck, it's going to be a very straightforward case and I'm going to have to find something, which will take me longer. And she was like, well, wouldn't that just be the plot twist if you just did one?
And then Mackenzie messaged that to me. She's like, so this one's completely normal. Should that be the plot twist?
I was like, that's actually pretty good, but I don't know if she'd be happy with that. All right. The bodies of 69-year-old Lucien Perrault and his friend 38-year-old Oliver Boudin were found on the 3rd of August, 2017 in France. The pair were known as having a father and son type relationship and were very close. They frequently bonded over a nice dinner as they were doing that on this fateful evening. They were seated at the dinner table, seemingly enjoying another meal together, and then just suddenly died.
Both of them?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Authorities first suspected food poisoning, but nothing was found to indicate this to be the case. During the investigation, police searched for any known enemies or anyone who would want to harm the men, but couldn't find anything. Their autopsies finally revealed the strange truth. So Perrault had choked to death as he was eating his beefsteak, and his best friend simultaneously experienced a heart attack. Boudin went into cardiac arrest at the stress of seeing his friend choking.
That's so sad.
No.
Oh my God. Yes.
Like, they literally died at the same time.
That's how we'll go out.
I know, I was thinking
So the next one is the strange case of Agneta and Igomar Westland, a couple who lived in the village of Loftehemmen, in Sweden. So one day in September of 2008, Agneta took her dog for a walk in the woods as she normally did. Unfortunately, she never returned. Afterwards, Ingomar went out to find his wife. He found her battered body in the woods. Ingomar called the authorities and led them to his wife's body. In any homicide case, authorities usually try to clear the victim's significant other first. Duh.
Mm-hmm.
Swedish police wondered who had a reason to kill Agneta Westland. They didn't think it likely a crazed killer lurking in the woods waiting for a victim. Authorities immediately suspected Ingomar. They arrested and charged him with murdering his wife. He denied the charges and proclaimed his innocence. He spent 10 days in jail before being released. Although he left jail, he remained a suspect for 6 months. Ingomar soon became an outcast in his community. No one wanted to associate with a man suspected of killing his wife. Sad for him, but I get it.
Right.
The police eventually dropped all charges against Ingomar. However, the police neglected to tell him that they had cleared him of killing his wife. Oh, if Ingomar didn't kill his wife, then who did? The answer surprised everyone. Authorities blamed Agneta Westland's death on a drunken elk.
Mm-hmm.
After Agneta's body was recovered, authorities noticed fur on her body. Authorities incorrectly assumed it belonged to a dog. After studying her wounds and doing genetic testing on recovered fur and saliva, authorities determined the genetic evidence belonged to a European elk, or what we Americans often call a moose.
Mm-hmm.
They are dangerous.
Well, so typically they're actually afraid of humans and don't necessarily come near them. But you'll read why in a second that this one was a little bit different.
This
Or
enormous...
at least the ones in Europe. I don't know about the ones over here.
Right. So this enormous creature is common in Sweden. It's not unusual for them to weigh around 800 pounds. They make cars look tiny.
Oh my God. I remember the first time that my world was shattered when I saw how large an actual moose was.
Yes. I love them, but oh my God.
Yeah.
So although this creature typically avoids confrontations with humans, they have harmed people in the past. Authorities believe that
Like any wild animal.
Right, duh, we're encroaching in their area.
Right.
So authorities believe that while walking her dog, Agneta Westland came upon an elk eating fermented apples. After the elk ate the apples, it affected the creature similar to how alcohol affects a human. Most likely, the dog approached the drunken elk and antagonized it. The elk then attacked and killed Agneta. What the hell?
Isn't that crazy?
But, there was this one video that I saw, too, of this guy in, Canada,
Mhm.
and he was going out to get his trash or going to his garage or something, and he sees a moose coming, and he
Mhm.
knew how dangerous they were, so he, closed the garage, slowly and kind of hid in there until it walked away, because
Yeah.
they'll, charge you.
Oh, for sure.
They're scary.
They are scary, but they're so cute.
They are so cute. I just want
And
to pet one.
seeing them walk through the forest as these giants.
Wild.
Wild.
It's so weird.
Very. Oh, I'm reading this one. Sorry. So Deputy Ricky Buchanan was driving home from a meeting in 2008 when he heard a report over his radio about a burglary. The address? His house.
Oh, no.
He rushed home to find that the thieves had made off with his 32-inch Vior TV. Fast forward 5 years later, when a tip came in about a pair of brothers suspected of multiple burglaries in Durham County, Indiana. After they were apprehended, police officers found hundreds of stolen items around their home. Jewelry, high school diplomas, handguns, and a 32-inch Bior television.
That's so
So he found his TV.
I wonder if it still worked 5 years later.
Good question. It did not say.
See, that's the thing that the people want to know.
Right. These are the facts that we came for.
The people's facts.
Yeah.
Well, that is a lot of fun stuff on my birthday. I didn't even realize.
I know.
March 2nd, the best day out there.
I can see that. I feel like when I was thinking about it, I was like, that makes sense that a lot of things happen because it's the beginning of the year.
Mm-hmm.
People are, always trying new stuff and lots of things happen. And I was like, my birthday, everyone is on vacation. So what the fuck what's going to happen?
Or they're with their family, so they're like laying low.
Exactly.
Trying to keep things civil.
Not as fun.
Not as fun. And you had Ted Bundy, so like extra not as fun.
Yeah, and Freddie Mercury died on my birthday.
Right. So. Right. An awful person was born, an amazing person was dead.
Yeah.
Not great.
Not great. What spooky tea are you pouring, Lauren?
Okay. So I'm going to give a trigger warning for this whole episode.
Even mine.
Yeah, probably. So I will be mentioning rape and things about rape, but no one gets raped.
Okay.
Just to be clear.
Okay.
But there are mentions of it.
Okay.
So on to the case. All right. Angela Diaz was living the good life in 2016. She had just married the love of her life, Ian Diaz, a U.S. Marshal, in February of that year. They had just returned from their honeymoon in Boise, Idaho. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Their honeymoon?
That's why I said it, and I paused. You didn't say anything, and I said, okay.
Oh, see, now you know what it's like, huh?
Shut up. Yes, their honeymoon in Boise, Idaho.
My brain said that they were getting home to Boise, Idaho.
No.
Which is why I was like, why is she looking at me weird?
No, they live in California.
That's a better honeymoon.
I know.
Idaho.
Yeah, no. Boise, Idaho is where they had their...
Unless you have a big affinity for potatoes. Then I could see.
I mean, I do, but I still wouldn't go to Idaho.
Not for a honeymoon.
No.
I would go to Idaho for a vacation, like a trip.
Yeah, to eat potatoes.
To
in
eat
all different
potatoes.
forms.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, no. Nope, honeymoon.
No.
Was in Boise, Idaho.
Oh,
yeah.
Well.
To each his own.
Mm-hmm.
So 2 weeks after returning, she told her family the happy news that she and Ian were expecting twins.
Damn.
Well, like, premarital sex happens, Mackenzie.
Okay. Well, no, I know that, but I'm like, it's obviously not from the honeymoon, or else how the fuck would she know she has twins?
Right.
Okay.
Right. So things were good. Angela and Ian were enjoying this new life they had set up together. But things quickly started to get terrifying for the couple when, on June 1st, 2016, Angela started to receive some very graphic and disturbing emails. The emails were full of biblical threats with fire and brimstone and references to Adam and Eve. They spoke of Lilith, daughters of God, and getting her powers back. Some went like this, quote, "There are legends that Adam had a wife before Eve who was named Lilith."
Oh, I've heard that.
Yeah, but this is not found in the Bible. The legends vary significantly.
It is in the Old Testament.
But they all essentially agree that Lilith left Adam because she did not want to submit to him. Yes, girl.
She was kicked out of the story.
Yeah.
She had a mind of her own.
Man, kick you out. According to the legends, Lilith was an evil, wicked woman who committed adultery with Satan and produced a race of evil creatures. I hope you are scared to death tomorrow. Be prepared. Don't sleep. Be watchful of the daughters of God. We will steal your child and we will watch as it dies. He is using you for everything. Don't you see this? He is obsessed with me. I am his treasure princess. You are nothing. Watch your back tomorrow. So that was one of the emails she started to receive.
It's so unhinged.
I know. And to add to the disturbing nature of the emails, the sender also attached photos of dead babies.
Oh my God!
And fetuses. That should be a trigger warning as well. So things started to get truly terrifying, even more terrifying, when people began showing up at the Diaz residence surrounding the house. Angela had to call the police on multiple occasions because of this.
So like people were just standing, like circling the house?
Yes. And to make matters even worse, these strangers surrounding the house were threatening to rape her.
Like a scary flash mob.
Terrifying one. So it all came to a head when Angela and Ian discovered that there had been someone on Craigslist who was pretending to be Angela.
Ah, fucking Craigslist.
That person was going to every rape fantasy ad they could find on Craigslist and inquiring as Angela.
Oh my God.
Mm-hmm. So one ad was found under the casual encounters page with the heading, quote, "Rape Fantasy M4W OC." So M for W, I think, means man for woman. So a man looking for a woman. I didn't know what OC meant. And I Googled it,
Mhm.
and the first article brought up sex terms.
Mm.
I didn't click on it because I was at work.
Sure.
So,
Sure.
so the photo under the ad was a violent one, showing a partially clothed woman with a man restraining her mouth and head with his hands.
Oh, my God.
So the ad said, I am looking for women who have fantasies about being raped, forced to perform. I've done this before with a couple of ex-girlfriends and found it very intense and exciting. We would agree on the limits before meeting, and we could meet at a safe location like a hotel, the poster said, before adding that he's a sane, quote, clean-cut professional.
Mm-hmm. It freaks me out. Like, I kind of give a pass to women. I think they're still crazy for thinking it. But, like, when a man wants it.
He wants to be the one doing the raping.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, that's your fantasy.
Yeah.
That's scary.
A lot of serial killers have that as a fantasy,
Oh,
too.
absolutely.
Yeah. So it is scary.
Yeah. It's weird when a woman wants it because I'm like, why?
The domination.
But I'm like, that's different.
Yeah.
You don't have to say, oh, I want to be raped in order to be, have the submissive and you don't.
Right. You can do that in a much safer community.
Right. Exactly.
So on June 13th, 2016, the person pretending to be Angela replied saying, quote, I have been dying to have a rape fantasy occur. Watched while walking, following me to the door and forcing me into my condo. I am 30, tall, gorgeous, and ready. I have a Yorkie I walk every night, say 8 p.m. Come find me. These people advertising this fantasy were provided with Angela's photo, her address, and her typical dog walking routes. Even more disturbing, they were told that even if she resisted, even if she were screaming, to go on with the rape. So think of it this way. So people are putting out this ad that they want to have a rape fantasy.
Yeah.
Angela, whoever this is, reaches out and talking as Angela tells this ad person that they have this fantasy as well and where you can find me.
Right.
And they are like, I may resist, I may put up a fight, but that's the fun of it. Just keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rah. Yeah.
Yep. So 6 days later, the real Angela received correspondence from a man traveling from San Diego to follow through with this fantasy, as he believed that she had contacted him through this advertisement.
Mm-hmm.
Anaheim Police Detective Michael Kuna called the man back and left a message saying that the response to the ad was fraudulent. Thankfully, no one showed up.
Yeah.
Not long after, Ian, the husband, received a message from that man apologizing and told him that he thought the message was legitimate. The man went on to say that the person who had responded to the ad even sent him photos of Angela, which Ian and Angela later realized were from her social media, like from her Instagram. So on June 21st, and this is all in 2016, so, pretty recent.
Yeah.
On June 21st, a man landed at the Los Angeles International Airport responding to the ad. Detective Kuna called and warned him as well. And on June 24th, 2016, Angela had to make another call to 911. She told the operator that a man had entered her garage and had attempted to rape her, but she was able to chase the man away and call for help. She had been found by police in the back alley behind her residence with bruises to her right temple. The suspect was never found, though, and wasn't seen on any security footage. Now that it got physical and escalated beyond just typical threats, emails, police were able to finally get involved.
Yeah.
Don't even get me started on that topic. So Angela told police that she was 100% certain, like she knew who was behind this.
Oh.
So this is where we enter Michelle Hadley.
Oh.
So Angela was 100% convinced that Michelle was behind all of the torture and the threats that she'd been facing. She was sure Michelle was the one responsible for the Craigslist stuff. So who is Michelle? Well, none other than her husband Ian's fairly recent ex-fiancé.
Oh, snap.
Uh-huh. So Michelle
He's not worth it, ladies. He's not
They are
worth
never
it.
worth it. So Michelle seemed to fit the crime perfectly.
Mhm.
She did have a ton of motive for why she would do this against Angela.
Sure.
So Angela and Ian had met shortly after Ian and Michelle had been together.
Okay.
So they broke up. Angela and Ian are quickly together.
Mhm.
Ian and Michelle were in a relationship from August 2013 to August 2015 after meeting online.
Mhm.
Another source said they met at Starbucks, where Ian went up to Michelle to tell her how beautiful she was.
Oh, another meet cute.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So they started off quick. Apparently on the second date, Ian told her that he loved her.
Oh, no. No. Run.
They got a Yorkie together named Chewy and got a loan for a condo together. Michelle provided a lump sum of cash for the down payment, $10,000.
Lump sum.
They're not even married. I get people buying houses together, but you've known each other for 2 weeks.
Sure.
So by the fall of that year, they were fighting, arguing, and Ian even kicked Michelle out of the condo, prompting them to split up. So fall of the one of the years.
Yeah.
Ian and Angela had officially met on January 2nd, 2016, and immediately started dating. So not long after the other two broke up.
Yeah.
Then on January 29th, so 27 days later, Ian proposed, and the two were married in February 2016. So they met on January 2nd, and they were married in February. Yep. After their quick wedding, they moved into the condo that Michelle and Ian had bought for themselves.
Damn.
Michelle had openly fought the two about this because I will agree that's fucked up.
Absolutely.
So ton of legal battles, ton of just like figuring out who owns this condo, especially because Michelle put down the lump sum of the down payment.
Right.
So Angela and Ian fought legally as well to get Michelle off of the title of the condo that they, Michelle and Ian, own together.
Mm-hmm.
So Angela and Ian want to be in it. Michelle owns it. They're trying to figure out what to do.
Okay.
So Michelle's pissed.
Mm-hmm. Naturally.
Yeah. Sometime between June and July of 2016, Angela applied for and obtained a restraining order against Michelle, signed under penalty of perjury that Michelle had indeed threatened her through email and by having strange men show up at her house. Between June 21st, 2016 and July 13th, 2016, Angela had to make many calls to the police and filed many reports with the Anaheim Police Department about her life and the life of her unborn children being threatened by Michelle Hadley.
Oh my. Gosh, she was pregnant.
Yeah, with twins. So she said about the harassment, quote, Miss Hadley had been emailing me for over 1 week, repeatedly threatening my life, my marriage, my safety, and slandering my husband. Miss Hadley had used over 6 different email addresses to contact me, despite a request to cease communication. I am now fearful of leaving my home, have had to delete my online presence, and am incredibly emotionally distressed. I am fearful of being raped, attacked, killed. All in quotes, meaning that that's what the email said.
Correct.
I have had to completely uproot my life, including missing work at my new job to squash the issue. Her tone and tenor of these emails escalates, and there seems no sign of stopping.
Oh my.
So Michelle was arrested by the Anaheim Police Department for violation of her restraining order, which was the no communication, emails count as communication.
Right.
But she was released that same day from custody on a $100,000 bail.
Damn.
Her parents helped her pay it.
But still.
I know. So Angela said that she finally had some peace after Michelle was in jail for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't receive any more emails when she was in custody. But when she was released, those emails started up again pretty much immediately, warning that Angela would now be punished and raped.
Oh my.
But a little fishiness was noticed with this. Michelle didn't have access to emails right after her release, and also didn't have access when Angela started to receive those emails again.
Oh.
But the emails were so threatening and disturbing this time around, like this after she's been in jail, threatening Angela's life even more, that it actually caused great concern for public safety.
Oh my God.
Yes. So Michelle was arrested again on July 14th, 2016, and held in custody on a $1 million bond.
Holy shit.
So this bail amount, bond amount, whatever, was so drastically high because of how violent these new emails had been. And now that the the safety of the public was at risk, they were like, we can't afford you being out in public.
Oh my God.
And if convicted of all charges, Michelle was looking at a life sentence.
Wow.
So this is what she was being charged with: 6 counts of attempted forcible rape, stalking with a restraining order, criminal threats, 3 counts of secondary offense committed while released from custody, and assault with intent to commit sexual offense during the commission of first-degree burglary, all of which are felonies.
Wait, when did she burglarize them?
I'm not sure.
Oh.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
She was also charged with violation of a protective or stay away order, which is a misdemeanor.
Right.
So, I mean, the burglary could potentially be having the guy break into the garage.
Okay.
And since she orchestrated it, she'd be responsible for it.
Yeah.
So while Michelle is in jail awaiting trials, Angela's case was looked more into. They wanted to gather as much evidence against Michelle as possible. So the first logical step would be to trace the IP address that was sending the awful emails to Angela and kind of see exactly where, when, and how they were being sent. Here comes the twist. So they found out the emails Angela had been receiving had been sent by Angela herself. No. If you could see Mackenzie's face right now.
Fucking crazy!
Yes.
That's psychotic!
I know.
Oh my God!
Trust me. Okay, we get even more. So she had been using 8 different VPNs, or virtual private networks, and third-party proxy servers in order to avoid being detectable by law enforcement through her IP address, which is your internet protocol address. So turns out Angela was a pathological liar.
No shit!
Yeah. So she had been the one to send herself those awful emails, the one to sign up for Craigslist, the one to organize her own rape attempts, all in an effort to get Michelle, who she viewed as a rival, to be thrown into jail forever.
Ladies. Never worth it!
She even faked a crime scene, an attempted sexual assault on herself, complete with...
I forgot about that.
Complete with fake bruises and red marks on her neck and chest to make it look as though she had been attacked. These are the injuries she showed police when she called them, reported Orange County District Attorney Tony Rakakis. And so everything about her life was a lie. She made up smaller lies like lying to her friends and family about where she worked. So in August of 2016, Angela claimed she had started a job as an Orange County court clerk. She would talk about elaborate stories from work, events, people, court hearings, everything. So it seems like a legit job. When she got her first check, she asked Ian if he would mind cashing it for her as she didn't have a bank account yet. So he deposited into his account on September 6th, but just 2 days later, the check bounced because the account that it was coming from was closed. So a bit later, Angela admitted to Ian that she never worked for Orange County and that she had just used a computer program to design and print a false pay stub and false paycheck, which just a random account number, a rounding number, the whole shebang.
Oh my God.
So no wonder it bounced. Ian also had another little weird story that never really fit either. He couldn't fit the pieces together. So he recalled that when they met, Angela drove a black Volkswagen Passat, which she said she was borrowing from a male friend. A week before she was to move in with Ian, she was now driving a silver Hyundai Santa Fe.
Okay.
Which she was renting because her 2009 Ford Focus was in the shop.
Okay.
But then she said her Ford wasn't at the dealership, not the shop, the dealership.
Right.
It had been repossessed.
Oh.
Like what?
So you don't have a car?
Yeah.
Okay.
So those are like her small lies. So she had bigger lies.
Well, obviously.
Obviously, yeah.
Oh my God, she's not even pregnant, is she?
I'll get to it, Mackenzie. So towards the beginning of the marriage, around the whole car fiasco, Ian started to discover that Angela had credit cards and was getting bank statements that belonged to a male friend. When Ian asked her about this, she said that sometimes her and her friend got each other's mail.
No. See, he's a fucking moron.
I know.
Like,
I know. Ian claimed that in September, he noticed an email that had been filtered out of his inbox that was dated February 5th, 2016. So what is that, like 7 months? So like February 5th, like right around their wedding. The sister of this male friend had sent a message to Ian saying to be careful because Angela was unfaithful.
Ooh.
The woman allegedly wrote, quote, "My brother has been with Angie for a while. Angie has been lying to him about you and telling him that their relationship wasn't working, but wouldn't be honest about the fact that she was cheating on him with you."
Wait, so did he find that email?
He found the email in September. It had been dated back in February. So this woman had sent it to him right around his wedding date, but it had been filtered to a different folder. So he never saw it until months later.
In September, like, had everything come out yet? Or was it still like...
We're still kind of not sure what's going on in September.
Okay, got it.
And so, remember how she was pregnant with these healthy twins?
She's not.
She is not. So Angela had showed Ian, as well as friends and family, a sonogram of fraternal twins.
Did she use the same program she did to make the check?
No. So it had Angela's name on it. It had doctor's name, the correct date of the sonogram, and the name of the hospital. So it looks legit. But through July and August, she was showing no physical signs of pregnancy. So by this point...
See, I knew it was sus. That's why I gave you a weird look. Don't make no sense.
Right. So she's pregnant in February. By July or August, you're going to be showing.
Especially with twins.
March, April, May, June, July. You're like 3 months out from having a baby.
Oh my God, you're large and in charge with your twins.
Yes.
Oh my God.
She was complaining, though, of cramps, back pain, and nausea. Like,
it's from carrying the weight of all your lies.
Amazing.
Thank you.
She would also shop for baby clothes, furniture, and other baby items.
This is giving me same vibes as the story you just did about what's her name and
Winnie.
Yeah, and being
Ruth
like,
with babies.
I'm pregnant, but I'm not pregnant, and like buying shit, but not actually being pregnant. Like same vibes. Same vibes.
It is, yeah. Huh. So somehow Ian found out that the sonogram photos were from Etsy for $7.50 a piece.
Etsy. Come on.
Ian confronted her about this, but Angela was adamant that the sonograms were real. That night, September 9th, I believe after he confronted her, he drove her to an Irvine hotel that her mom had paid for. I'm not sure why. My only thought could be like she told her mom that Ian doesn't believe me. I need a place to stay. I don't know. The next morning, Ian arrived back to pick her up and discovered multiple used pregnancy tests in 2 boxes under the sink.
Ooh.
All were positive.
Ooh.
But also in those boxes were pens. Pens that had clearly altered the negative tests to appear positive.
Oh, God, she's not even good at it.
No, she's not.
Come on.
And here's another small twist.
Oh, God.
Angela was trying to sell her story to Lifetime as a TV movie, which she titled A Darkness Within, the Angela Diaz story.
Which story? The truth?
No.
The other one?
Yes.
But why'd she say Darkness Within?
I don't know.
That's a stupid name. That's basically saying I did it.
It didn't go into it because it didn't go anywhere.
I'm sure it didn't. Not with that name.
Yes. So with it now coming out that Angela is a pathological liar and the one who had been sending the emails.
Is there another level to lying? Because pathological just doesn't seem like it is a good enough title to give her in the kind of
Right.
liar that she is.
Monster-esque.
We gotta
A monster-esque liar.
we gotta come up with a term. Pathological just seems like when I think pathological, I think little ones,
Right.
like just little itty bitty things that you just
that you
they're
just lie a lot, but
Right.
like little things.
and they're unnecessary. But I'm like, there's got to be something more for people who pull shit like this.
And always the thing that shocks me about when people give like the pregnancy lie, you're gonna be found out.
Right.
You can't hide a pregnancy. You
Right.
can, but you can't. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Not unless you got some good speed and really great luck,
Right.
and that you are like, oh my God, look, pregnant. Oh, it's gonna be a tiny baby.
Right.
Like
yeah.
you're not on TLC. I didn't know I was pregnant. Sorry.
Okay, yeah, there is that show. But in this situation, you have twins. Okay. So came out that she is a step above pathological liar.
Whatever that is. Psycho liar.
Psychopathical liar.
Psychopathical liar.
There we go.
Okay, there we go.
I don't think that's a real word, but
nope,
it's fine.
it is now.
And the one that had been sending the emails, her computers were raided, and she was arrested on January 6, 2017. During her preliminary hearing, the first person up was Anaheim Police Detective Michael Kuna. So he's the one who the men would call, and he would tell them this isn't real. He testified that when he first met Angela, she was with her husband, Ian, a U.S. Marshal, and he said initially he didn't consider either of them to be a suspect.
I mean, yeah.
Why would you? He went on to say that Angela told him what had been happening and was told that Michelle Hadley was responsible. She recounted the whole saga between Michelle and Ian, the condo, the threatening emails. Angela informed...
Did Michelle actually send the threatening emails when the whole condo stuff was happening, or was that part also not true? Like,
I'll explain it in a bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll get to that.
Okay.
So Angela informed him, the detective, that, quote, she had received a barrage of emails from unknown email addresses. And in those emails, there were allegations that her husband was not monogamous. They called him the scum of the earth. And what was weird was in his quote, he said, excuse my language, the scum of the earth. And I was like, is that a bad word?
No.
Like, if I say that, are we going to get canceled?
No.
So Angela continued on saying that the emails were getting more threatening, warning that she would be raped and killed. Those messages had photos of dead fetuses and dead women attached. Angela went on to say that Michelle's friends were even following her to work. Ian then told the detective that he had a tumultuous relationship with Michelle.
As a friend, if they asked you to do that, your answer is no.
If someone was really mean to you, I'd follow them to scare them. I mean, it was a lie. It didn't actually happen.
No, I know, but like, I'm thinking...
If in real life, someone had sent... No, she would have been the one sending the emails.
Exactly, that's what I mean.
Right, scratch that, reverse it.
Like...
Just kidding.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't do that.
Good.
I'd say, Kenzie, come on.
We
We need to
gotta-
figure this out.
We gotta do better than this.
So Ian told detectives that he had a tumultuous relationship with Michelle and had even tried to get a restraining order against her, but his request for one had been denied. Kuna said that Angela believed Michelle had lost her mind, that Michelle was basically crazy.
Takes one to know one.
Kuna told about the condo that Ian and Michelle had purchased together and the fight that resulted in her moving out. He said that Ian claimed that Michelle started sending him disturbing emails following that fight. So Ian claimed that Michelle threatened to burn down their condo with their dog inside. Ian said that Michelle was imbalanced and he did not trust her. Ian went on to describe the emails he had received from Michelle. One email began with, quote, I have been patient and my patience is at an end, end quote. She then went on to say that Ian was guilty of the 7 deadly sins and, most of all, pride. He claimed she signed the email with, so let it be written, so let it be done. Another email described the condo as, quote, that which does not belong to you but belongs to the Holy Trinity. And with yet another twist, Kuna did his due diligence and spoke to Michelle, who said that she did send emails to her ex during the condo thing. She had been fed up and, this is that word I didn't know, fugue.
Fugue.
Oh. She had been in a fugue state when she wrote them. Quote, in layman's terms, something wasn't firing right inside her head, Kuna testified. So her emails had been religious-based.
Oh, okay.
Some of them had been kind of crazy religious-based.
Yeah.
Which is why when they were sending the emails of Michelle,
Yeah.
they made them religious-based.
They?
Well, Angela, sending the emails to herself.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So she was using that as like a template.
Yeah.
Got it.
So she
Okay.
knew that that Michelle had sent these emails to Ian.
I thought you were about to tell me that fucking Angela sent these emails to Ian.
No, sorry. I used they as in like Angela.
That's why I was like looking at you like waiting for that fact to come.
No. So Michelle had written religious things to Ian when she was mad.
Okay.
Not super crazy, but she did write them in a religious text.
Okay.
So when Angela wanted to write them to herself to look like Michelle, she took the religious route for it.
Got it.
So that they could be like, oh, look at these emails that she sent my husband. Look at these emails she sent me. They're clearly from the same person.
Did write the emails to the husband, but after the fact to make it look like...
No. Only Michelle wrote the emails to the husband.
The ones you just read?
She didn't write those ones in particular.
That's what I mean.
Oh, yeah. So this is what Ian's telling the detective that the email said.
Right, but that email is one that Angela wrote.
I'm not sure.
Oh.
It didn't really say.
Okay.
It just said that, like, Michelle's emails were kind of religious-y, and they followed this, like, this is kind of what they said.
But this might not have been an actual email.
Right, we didn't see the email.
It could have been one that Angela made up.
Michelle did say she sent the emails, but I don't think she ever read what those emails were.
Okay.
Yes.
Got it.
Yes. So in Kuno's official affidavit, he said, quote, I believe, based off the evidence I obtained, Angela was responsible for creating the fake email accounts and sending the messages to herself to create the illusion Michelle Hadley was responsible for the crimes. So, of course, Michelle testified, saying that she never sent emails to Angela and that, in fact, she had never even met Angela. Deputy District Attorney Rick Zimmer.
God, this is, like, also so fucking embarrassing. Like,
for Angela?
Yeah.
Like,
oh, my God. Oh, my God. That's so embarrassing. Like, cannot believe, like, your crazy is found out. It's one thing when you can keep it on lock, but oh, my God.
Like, this is as publicly displayed as your crazy could possibly be.
Like, secondhand embarrassment. That's just...
So Zimmer read a statement that Diaz had given to police. I couldn't find the statement, but the statement was given at the beginning of this whole charade, so like when she gave her statement to the police, when the investigation was focused on Michelle. So in that statement, Angela said that Michelle had ruined her life and should register as a sex offender.
Oh my God!
Yeah. When that statement was read aloud by the prosecutor during the hearing, Angela laughed.
She's pretty.
Yes. And she's like actually really pretty.
They all are.
There were pictures of her, like some pictures from when she was like not openly insane, and she's very pretty. And then there's some pictures of when she's openly insane, and you're like, ooh.
The pretty ones are. You gotta be careful.
Took a toll on you. So Michael Guisti took the stand as well and made an impact statement about Michelle on behalf of Marcy's Law. So Marcy's Law, quote, protects and expands the legal right of victims of crime to include 17 rights of the judicial process, including the right to legal standing, protection from the defendant, notification of all court proceedings and restitution, as well as granting parole boards far greater powers to deny inmates parole. So this law comes from Marcy Nichols, who in 1983 was stalked and murdered by her ex-boyfriend. Did you already know that? Oh, wow. Look at you.
I didn't know her exact case, but I knew that it had something to do with whatever had happened to her and what proceeded afterwards.
So it kind of gives victims rights.
Correct.
Yeah. So he gave an impact statement about Michelle on behalf of that.
Wait, who did?
This Michael Guisti guy.
Oh. Okay. For a second, I thought we were talking about the husband.
No.
So he read it on behalf of Michelle.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Guisti spoke about how vicious and monstrous the acts committed by Angela were, how they led to Michelle having to spend almost 90 days in custody, and how that destroyed Michelle's credit, job, and housing abilities.
I'm sure it did.
All of these areas of her life require applications.
Did she sue?
I'll get to it.
Okay.
And they still ask her questions about these crimes that she didn't commit, because if you Google her...
That's what comes up, of course.
The experience obviously has left Michelle with nightmares and PTSD. So this is what Guisti is trying to say. Like, this is the impact that this has had on her. It was also brought up during her trial that Angela was involved in some fraud cases.
Shocked. I can't be shocked anymore with what she does.
I know.
You know?
And it's like they were doing this one case to find more information about her and Michelle. And then as they're digging, they keep finding more things about her that are just adding to her list of things that she's done. So on April 22nd, 2016, Angela picked up her paycheck from her employer and added $2,000 to the total. She deposited that check through an ATM. So this forged check was...
This is why you have to write "and no cents" and like draw the line so that they can't add more.
Right. So this forged check was investigated by the Garden Grove Police Department. In the end, and to end their investigation, the Orange County District Attorney's Office and the Anaheim Police Department found out that Angela had lied about having cervical cancer, pretending to be an attorney, forging doctor's notes, and impersonating not one, but two of Ian's ex-girlfriends over email. So this happened for someone else as well, but it doesn't go into that. So Angela at first pled not guilty to the 10 different felony and 22 misdemeanors that she was facing.
Goddamn.
If convicted, she could spend 12 years and 8 months in state prison and 11 in the county jail.
Hold up. Hold the fucking phone. Wait a minute. Wait a goddamn minute.
Are you wondering why she has so much less time than a whole life sentence?
Yes!
Because the life sentence was violent rape charges and violent, assault and stalking and things like that.
She is a threat to the fucking community.
I agree. So Allison Margolin, Angela's attorney, told the Daily Beast that she believes there could have been other suspects in the case. She said that Angela makes an easier target for prosecutors than her husband, U.S. Marshal Ian Diaz. Quote, it's still unclear who was involved and how many suspects there are.
It's very clear.
It's not clear to me why Angela is being singled out and someone pegged as the mastermind of the entire situation, Margolin told the Daily Beast. People are innocent until proven guilty. When the government is publicly telling their side of the story and the defense hasn't had the opportunity to see all the evidence, I think people should look at that skeptically.
What is the defendant seeing the evidence against them having to do with them being innocent? If you're innocent, you're innocent.
Yeah. Yep.
Just that makes no fucking sense.
Sometimes it feels like defense attorneys just kind of pull.
Oh
and they're
my
like,
God.
this is what we're going to run with and see if this sticks.
I was literally just thinking to myself, I'm like, defense attorneys cannot take themselves this seriously. Like,
I mean, they should, but
I'm all for the people that really do fight for the innocent ones because I do think our justice system is fucked.
Yes.
And that a lot of people are in jail that shouldn't be.
Mom she was like, well, what about if you guys, for your birthday, you do cases of people who are wrongly imprisoned? And I said, that would make me sad.
Correct.
And I said, so I can't, and no.
Yeah, correct. And there's quite a few of those.
So many.
Yeah. That was a lot of the ones for the plot twist was
right.
that this person's in jail and actually they're innocent. And I was like, that's not fun. That's really sad.
I know.
But I'm just like, they have the evidence. Yes, I agree, innocent until proven guilty, but they have it. They have proved it.
Right.
They proved it.
Right.
What?
Right.
Hey.
There's no way around the fact that they proved this. Judge Nicholas S. Thompson, who presided over the case, said that in his 30 years as a prosecutor, defense attorney, and judge, he had never seen a case like this.
I'm sure.
He said Angela had a distorted sense of jealousy and a lack of empathy that led to the calculated effort to ruin Michelle.
Oh, she's 100% a sociopath.
This is going to piss you off.
Oh, God.
Angela was sentenced to 5 years. She eventually pled guilty to a whole slew of crimes. But 5 years. So, the felony charges include 2 counts of kidnapping, 2 counts of false imprisonment by menace, fraud or deceit, 2 counts of forgery, 2 counts of possession of a forged check over $950, perjury, and grand theft. The misdemeanor charges include 1 count of falsely reporting a crime to a police agency and 21 counts of falsely reporting a crime to a peace officer, so a cop. 5 years.
So I know
5 years for potentially being able to put someone away for life.
It's moments like these where I'm like, you cannot tell me that our justice system is set up for people to, what's the word?
Rehabilitated?
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
If that was me, if I did all this and I got 5 years, I'd be like, easy, done.
Right, 5 years, let me do it again.
Lesson not learned.
Because you're not going to a place that's going to help you.
Correct.
You're sitting in a jail, 5 years later, you're out.
Right. And
no rehabilitation.
Probably even earlier.
Oh, yeah, probably. So Michelle was exonerated and released from prison after spending 88 days in a cell.
Oh, my God.
On October 7th, 2016. She was cleared of absolutely any wrongdoing after Angela's arrest on January 9th, 2017. District Attorney Tony Rakakis said, quote, if not for the hard work of law enforcement continuing to investigate and seek the truth in this case, Ms. Hadley could have continued to face life in prison. It is unfathomable why Ms. Diaz would concoct such a diabolical scheme to hurt an innocent person. Even while pleading guilty, Diaz showed no remorse, compassion, or empathy for the victim.
Of course not.
We hope the resolution of this case brings some closure to Ms. Hadley so she can move forward in her life.
She's got to move.
She has to do something.
And change her last name.
So after Angela's sentencing, Michelle said, quote, there are days when I wonder if I'll ever be able to have a normal life or a family after this because everything has just been so turned upside down now.
Aww.
So she did file a lawsuit against Ian Diaz in the city of Anaheim, but it was settled outside of court, with the city agreeing to pay Michelle $1,795,000
Not
in
enough.
2021.
Not enough.
I don't think so either. When people who have been in jail for like years and years too, when like the state or whatever is like, here's $1 million, it's like,
Not
that
enough.
doesn't give me back the 40 years that I lost in
It
prison.
should be $1 million for every year.
Again, that's one of my biggest fears, is to be just truly in the wrong place at the wrong time and being charged for something that I am 100% innocent of.
Right, because you see all the time people claiming their innocence, and, you know, there's that running joke of like, well, everyone in jail is innocent.
Right.
And I'm like, well, maybe they are.
Right. So now let's take a little look into Ian Diaz. So he petitioned for nullity of
every crazy woman was a man that made her that way.
So Ian petitioned for nullity of their marriage just 6 months after they tied the knot.
Did he not get anything?
I'll get to it.
Okay.
So at the end of his divorce hearing, Ian said that had he known about, quote, what appears to be lying at the pathological level, he never would have married Angela in the first place. So remember those babies they were supposed to be having?
Mm-hmm.
So in April 2016, Angela had a miscarriage. So potentially February to April, she could have been pregnant. The petition for divorce states, quote, it is believed that due to timing of the sexual relationships between Ian and Angela, the child may have been the offspring of another man. Woo! So in a little bit more of a twist, it was believed years later that Ian was conspiring with Angela this whole time.
100%.
Mainly wanting to discredit Angela so that he could get the condo in his name solely. So not even Angela's name on it, just his name. Then in the fall of 2016, Ian had told law enforcement officials that he believed his wife alone was responsible for framing Michelle. In an attempt to conceal his involvement, he deleted personal email accounts and changed his cell phone number. But now, as in 2021, Ian was convicted on conspiracy to commit cyberstalking, perjury, and obstruction of justice. If found guilty, he faces up to 20 years in prison. I know. It doesn't make any sense.
What the actual fuck? I think what is more plot twist is these goddamn prison sentences.
Angela, here's 5 years, but Ian, here's 20, which is actually strange that it's usually flipped the opposite way where the women get more.
Not even that. She was literally the mastermind. If anything, she did most of the legwork.
Right. So according to court documents, Michelle had told a support group she was part of that she was afraid of Ian because he was a deputy marshal and he owned several guns. Because of her fear of him, while she had been pursuing her master's degree in business administration, she had barred him from the Chapman University because she feared her safety.
Oh, all you had to say was that she was in grad school, and I could have easily told you she does not have the time to do this.
Right.
Like, she has way more important things to be doing than going crazy on some bitch.
And they said one of the emails that was sent to Angela had been when Michelle was in class. And they're like, she wouldn't have sent this email while she's in class. She's in grad school. So in an email that had been included in a request for a protective order, Michelle stated that she had made a mistake moving in with him, quote, despite my very valid reservations about his character and conduct. She even brought up something about his character, so this is gross. So she accused Ian of once having gotten her drunk, then having a random man, quote, have sex with her on video. So Michelle wrote in an email, I assume to Ian, quote, you do not get any woman, let alone the woman you purport to love, drunk, and find a random man for her to have sex with while you make a pornographic video of her. That is rape, which is against the law. Luckily, there are plenty of text messages and a video to prove that you and the man you found coerced me sexually. Oh, I know. Michelle's father was interviewed as well about Michelle's relationship with Ian, and he said, quote, when she left the place, she had nothing. She showed up on our doorstep, and that was all she wrote. She didn't want to get anything out of the condo. She just wanted to get away from him. She had been scared to death of this guy since the day she left him.
Oh, my God.
So Ian was indicted.
This poor woman.
I know. So Ian was indicted in May of 2021 and finally went to trial in March of 2023.
Damn.
On March 23rd, the jury found him guilty on all counts.
Thank God.
Taking less than 2 days to deliberate. They find him guilty, and then he goes to his sentencing.
Okay.
So his sentencing was set for June 30th, where he faces the maximum penalty of 20 years in prison. I looked up and down for the sentence.
It's nowhere?
Nowhere. I couldn't find anything about it. Like, I would
It might
type
have
in,
been, like, it wouldn't be far-fetched if it was, like, pushed.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Because I looked, and I literally typed in Ian Diaz sentencing, and at the top said June 30th. And I said, great, give me the information. I looked at the court cases. I looked at the court documents. Nothing about the sentencing.
Do you know what jail he's at?
No,
Hmm.
but probably in Anaheim. So we should look that up right after
We
this episode.
should.
So Michelle Hadley had worked hard to move on from what happened to her. She graduated from Dickinson College in Pennsylvania in 2009, so this is a little about her,
Mhm.
with a degree in medieval and early modern studies
Hmm.
and minors in art history and women's studies.
Just sounds cool.
Yeah. Since graduating from college, Hadley had several jobs, including as a proposal and marketing support manager at the York Risk Services Group from 2011 to 2014, and as an associate program manager at Disneyland from 2014 to 2015,
That's cool.
according to her LinkedIn profile. She was scheduled to graduate with her master's degree in business administration with a focus in marketing from Chapman University in 2017, which was put on hold, obviously, with all that went on.
Sure.
She plans to resume her graduate program now that she has been cleared. She started her own retail business and has helped raise money for a domestic violence shelter as well.
Ugh, love it.
Ugh, I know. So, quote, I hope my story becomes a beacon of hope for other domestic violence survivors. I want them to know they are not alone, Hadley said. There are so many wonderful people in this world who care and will fight alongside them.
100%.
So there you have it. My case.
That was a good plot twist. I did not see that coming.
When I was telling Mom this morning, that's the part where she was like, oh my God.
Did not see that coming.
Because she said the same thing as you, like, crazy ex-girlfriend.
I mean,
involved.
That is the only part of her plan that I'm like, you did good with that one because it's plausible.
Yes.
But, whew,
And like,
crazy finds crazy.
how terrifying, too. Like, that's what I'm saying. Wrong place, wrong time. You're now in jail facing life.
And it's like, you get out of that relationship, you want to be done with it, you're terrified.
You're terrified.
And all of a sudden, you're going to jail.
Right.
Like,
Like, completely
can't
blindsided.
imagine.
Like, she probably had no follow-up with her ex. No, she never even met Angela, so she had no care what he was doing.
right.
And then just one day to
She
be
had a fucking
arrested.
restraining order against the guy.
Right.
Like, I hope she's got a good therapist.
Yeah. So
Goddamn.
this was one of those cases where there was so much more,
Yeah.
but I was like, really backburn.
Yeah.
We can't talk about everything.
Yeah.
Like, after I read, like, probably this source, I have so many articles that I used. I was like, okay, I can't. I
Yeah.
have to stop.
Yeah. Same.
So, yeah.
Well, goddamn.
Yeah.
Consider it twisted.
Good. Okay, Mackenzie, what gift are you giving me today?
Woof.
Oh, God. Okay.
Alrighty.
All right. I am ready.
So this will probably be a case that some of you remember because it happened in 2015 and is wild.
So not Rochester in 1981?
Or you may be like me where you remember, but you didn't remember until you read about it again because it's just so wild. But I'd like to believe that regardless of the camp you were in, we can all agree that this story is insane. So Charles Joseph Glenowitz was born on August 25th, 1963 in Libertyville, Illinois. He went by Joe for short. Growing up, Joe was known as a friendly guy with a nice smile. In high school, he attended Marmion Military Academy, which was an all-boys Catholic military residential school.
That sounds awful.
2 years later, he transferred to and graduated from Anatok Community High School. One of the videos I watched said community college, but it was I'm pretty sure it was high school.
Okay.
So after he graduated in 1981, see, there it is. He enlisted in the U.S. Army. After his 4 years, he went into the Army Reserves and decided to become a police officer. He joined the Fox Lake Police Department in April 1985.
And we're in Illinois.
Correct. He was trained as a military police officer, drill sergeant, sniper, and in airborne assault during his time in the Army.
Wow.
Glenowitz rose through the ranks in the small town of 11,000 people, depending on which source you look at.
Oh, wow.
Fox Lake was a small village that was part of the chain of lakes in Illinois, not to be confused with Land O'Lakes, the butter.
Or the Finger Lakes.
Or the Finger Lakes. It is a popular...
How many of those did you get when you were editing?
Not as many, which is why I need to be better about ling to know when to back up.
It makes me laugh because sometimes you'll just be going, you'll hear, pop, 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 la, 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 la. And you're like, oh, God.
Because I don't remember the parts I messed up.
Oh, no.
In my head, it's all beautiful. So it is a popular vacation spot for people in Chicago and Wisconsin. So most of the homes are empty for the colder part of the year because they are vacation homes. Many of the residents, both full and part-time, own boats that are scattered around town and many marinas. When Glenowitz first joined the police force, he was assigned as a patrol officer but continued to work towards other training and certification in special assignments. He received certification in SWAT, police dog handling, and became a certified evidence technician. In 1996, he was promoted to sergeant and then lieutenant in 2006. He received many awards and accolades during his time as both a police officer and while in the Army Reserves, including the Medal of Valor. By the time he left the reserves in 2007, he had received at least 9 medals and badges during his 26 years of service.
Wow.
Joe loved his job as a police officer and was considered dedicated to his service. Early on in his career, he began working with the Fox Lake Police Explorer Post. By 1987, Joe was made the head of and running the Fox Lake Police Explorer Post program. Police Explorers is for youths ages 14 to 21 who want to explore a career in law enforcement. They shadow and work directly with police officers. This program is in various departments all over the country.
Oh, wow.
Explorers typically spend months at a time giving up their Saturdays to participate in this program. Couldn't be me. So there have been a couple podcasts to do episodes about this.
To do episodes about Joe or about the police program?
About Joe.
Okay.
In the last few years, especially when it was happening.
Right.
So I listened to and watched on YouTube the Mile Higher. Have you heard of them?
I haven't.
They pretty much kind of do the same thing we do, but it's not specific to a state, and there's a little bit of a weed theme to it.
Oh.
And their studio looks nice as hell.
Excuse you.
I mean, yes, but I'm like, you are in a professional place.
Right.
Like, someone else edits those.
That's when you know you've made it.
I looked at their website. They got producers and like all this shit. Oh, yeah. They have like a whole thing of people.
Damn.
And I also am like, good for you guys for being married and doing it together.
Oh, it's a married couple.
It's a married couple.
Oh, wow.
And they did a great job. And I highly recommend, honestly, to go either, you can listen to it like on any regular podcast place, but they did a really good job. And what's interesting is their perspective on it, because one of the hosts has a personal connection to the case.
Oh.
He was part of the Explorers program in the Aurora Police Department in Colorado.
Oh, wow.
So not the same program, but he did all that.
Yeah.
So on the show, he explains his experience and kind of explains what the program is, what they do. So explorers get to go on ride-alongs. They're trained like a police officer in the academy and even have access to the entire police department.
Wow.
They can come and go as they please, and they even get to see evidence rooms and their contents.
That is so cool.
I don't know if it's necessarily come and go as they please, but like he was saying that they have like a pass to be able to get into like the restricted entrances.
Yeah, being 14 to 21, I'm sure they have a chaperone with them. Like, oh, go look at all the drugs we smuggled. Or, like,
Right.
Just take a little gander.
Yeah. Explorers are also moved, obviously, to the top of the list of applicants because of their experience in the program.
Right.
Which makes sense. The host of the podcast didn't end up going into the police force. He didn't really say why, just kind of it wasn't for him. I think that had a little bit to do with his wife, which I can tell that she was like, you're not going to be a police officer. Like,
right. When Joe at one point decided that he wanted to be the person to climb the really high towers and change the light at the top,
yes.
I said no.
Right.
And he goes, Lauren, like, not that many people die. And I said,
not that many people.
Joe, no. I said, I want you to do what you're happy doing. And I said, but no.
But not at the expense of my happiness.
And I was like, but Lauren, I would have to work 2 days a year and would be making as much as I'm making now. And I said, that's great, but no. It's like, because the money means nothing if you're dead.
Yes.
No!
I see both sides.
No!
As you say.
No.
As you say, I see both sides.
Oh my god.
And it's annoying, isn't it?
Only when it's disagreeing with me.
Oh my goodness. He actually only knew of one person that he was in the Explorers with that even ended up being a police officer.
Interesting.
He said that most don't actually end up going into it. I think he was explaining that, you know, when you kind of see that at a young age and you see the things that it entails, it's almost more of a deterrent.
How the sausage is made.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But in Glenowitz's program, 70% of the kids joined the police force or the military.
Wow.
Yeah. So according to the host of the Mile Higher podcast, Glenowitz ran the program the way he wanted it to be, which is very different from his own experience in most of the other programs.
Okay.
Glenowitz's hard work with the Explorers received him all sorts of rewards and honors. He led the training for the Explorer SWAT course, the Sniper course, and the Explorer Basic Training Academy. Glenowitz had many of his trainees wearing military camo and combat boots, which is not typical of most programs or really even the police department. And
Right.
This guy was saying that he was like, honestly, police departments deter that because being in the military, even if military police, whatever, while yes, it's a typical path for people, they don't want you to be treating people the same way because working with civilians is not the same as working with military personnel.
Military people.
So most of the time, they don't even have combat boots.
Right.
So, not typical. His explorers looked like they were honestly about to join the military and not the police. Glenowitz had become a mentor to many of the youths in his program. One of the explorers said that Glenowitz had become a mentor and almost a father figure to hundreds of kids.
Wow.
Glenowitz was a well-known figure in the community. He was described as kind, and everyone had some sort of interaction with him. He was easy to spot in the small town because he drove around in a camo-lifted truck. Okay. Eventually, he earned himself the nickname G.I. Joe because of his military background and his overall appearance.
And his name.
That too. And his name.
It's too good.
What, baby? I had to read my story. Yeah, I know. Thank you. I love you too. Except for me to do that.
It's gross. But he was still considered a friendly guy who was kind to everyone. He was considered a hero in his community. In 1989, he married his wife Melody, and they had 4 sons, Joseph, Donald, or DJ, Jeffrey, and David. He was known as a loving father and a family man. His wife would often help out with the Explorer program as a mentor for the female explorers. Glenowitz earned his bachelor's and master's from Kaplan University and was hoping to start a doctoral program at Capella University.
Oh.
By September 2015, Glenowitz was set to retire by the end of the month after 30 years in the police service. So, on the morning of September 1st, 2015, Glenowitz stopped at a convenience store like he always did before his patrol to pick up a pack of cigarettes. Afterwards, he went to an abandoned cement plant and sat there for about 30 minutes. At 7:52 a.m., he reported to dispatch that he saw 2 white men and a black man that he deemed suspicious. Dispatch asked if he needed backup, to which he replied no. About 3 minutes later, Glenowitz reported that he was going to head to the nearby swampy area to approach the 3 men. The dispatcher asked again if he needed backup, and this time Glenowitz said yes. At 7:57 a.m., he radioed his location again and said that the men were running towards the swamp. When backup arrived, they radioed for Joe's status but got no answer. They tried his cell phone and also no answer. The other officers were immediately concerned and began looking for him further into the marshy swamp forest area. Mm-hmm. It was difficult because he wasn't responding and there were also no footprints to follow. As they were combing the area, police heard a single gunshot. Shortly after, at 8:18 a.m., one of the units radioed in, "Officer down."
Oh, no.
The units looking for Glenowitz found him lying face down on the ground and shot dead. His face was scraped up and there was some bruising to his head. Police told dispatch that there were 3 armed and dangerous suspects on the loose. So one can imagine that when an officer is killed like this, the masses come out to help.
Oh, yeah.
Police departments in the surrounding counties were mobilized, the SWAT team was called, and over 400 officers came to search the woods where Glenowitz was found.
Wow.
And that's not including federal.
Oh, my gosh.
Since it was the beginning of September, it was still hot, and officers were passing out as they were walking the swampy area.
Oh, my gosh.
At night, they used helicopters with thermal-seeking devices to try and find the suspects. They had searched for a total of 14 hours but found nothing.
How big is the swampy area?
Not that big.
Oh, okay.
I mean, the whole town is relatively small.
Yeah, right. Like, it's not like Florida swamps.
Correct. They're not like in the Everglades.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Schools went on lockdown, community members panicked, commuter trains stopped running, and local colleges canceled classes that day.
Oh, my gosh.
People barricaded themselves in their homes for fear of a cop killer or killers out on the loose.
That was true with the DC snipers. People were too scared to go outside.
People keep asking me if I remember that, and I'm like, I don't.
I just remember being scared when Mom would have to go get gas. Mm-hmm.
I did not know that that happened in my timeline until 4 years ago, maybe. Like, I'm like, look, I was dealing with my childhood, okay? That was enough trauma for me.
I had scarier things to deal with.
Exactly. So Glenowitz's handgun that he carried was not found for an hour, even though it was only 3 feet from his body.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
But apparently it was like that kind of tall, grassy, whatever, so that might have been difficult to find. Other pieces of his police equipment, including his radio, taser, and pepper spray, were scattered about. So George Falanco, who is the head of the Lake County Major Crimes Force, was named the lead investigator for the case. Agents from the FBI, ATF, and the U.S. Marshals joined the investigation.
Interesting.
Investigators were having no luck finding Joe Glenowitz's apparent killers. Because of the large vacationer population, there were a lot of vacant residents, boats were covered with tarps, and it was very difficult for police to search everywhere.
Right.
Oh, okay. Sorry. This is the part where I stopped proofreading.
Funny how quickly you can find.
On the evening of September 2nd, a 30-year-old woman named Kristen Kiefer of Vernon Hills, Illinois, contacted police to report that while she had been pulled over on the side of the road in Volo, Illinois, she saw two men, one white and one black, were walking towards her from a cornfield and tried to steal her car.
Oh.
When she told the suspects that she was going to call the police, they fled into the cornfield.
And so this is after?
It was the second day, like next day. Like his was the first, this was the second.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Nearly 100 state and local law enforcement authorities set up roadblocks and searched the area, along with 11 police canine and 3 air units from around 9:30 p.m. Wednesday until 2:30 a.m. Thursday.
Dang.
The search took officers through the dense Volo Bog State Natural Area after canines mistakenly tracked a deer.
Oh, good.
I know this was hid. Kiefer later admitted to fabricating the entire story. She was arrested and charged with 2 counts of disorderly conduct for falsifying a police report.
Why? Why are people?
I don't know. I think the guy in the podcast literally said the same thing. It's like, why? What are people doing? In May 2017, she was convicted and placed on probation in order to pay $20,000 in restitution.
Damn. It's not worth it, people.
No. The entire community of Fox Lake was completely surrounded by law enforcement that it was actually considered a kill zone.
Oh my God.
While there were hundreds of suspects, none of them turned out to have anything to do with Glenowitz's death. And on September 4th, a $50,000 reward was posted for any information.
What does a kill zone mean?
So pretty much the entire town was surrounded by law enforcement that there is no possible way that anyone could get in or out.
Oh.
Yeah. At least that's what the guy explained.
Oh, goodness.
So, in the aftermath of Glenowitz's death, people started to blame his death on the Black Lives Matter movement. So, we're going to put a pin in that and just kind of go over what the political and cultural climate was like in 2015.
Okay.
So,
So Black Lives Matter was in 2015 too?
I'm going to explain. I got to explain.
Sorry, go on.
During the summer of 2015, there had been many protests against police violence all over the country in response to the deaths of multiple Black Americans in police custody, including Eric Harris, Sandra Bland, Freddie Gray, and sadly many others. The protests were part of the growing Black Lives Matter movement that began in the U.S. after the acquittal of George Zimmerman in 2013, who fatally shot 17-year-old Trayvon Martin in February of 2012.
Oh.
That's what it's...
All of these names are now...
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
The movement grew in 2013 with the Ferguson protests after the death of Michael Brown by police. Mm-hmm. The movement began to divide the country, and political tensions continued to rise in 2015. Across the nation, there were more and more protests about police brutality, and the public's opinion of police shifted to less favorable. So this is when the Black Lives Matter movement really started and kind of took off, so to speak. People on the other side looked at these protests as anti-police. It was at this point that Blue Lives Matter began to creep up and said that police were now under attack in America due to the Black Lives Matter. Many were saying that it was no longer safe to be a cop in America anymore, and the media played a role in pushing this narrative to the public. This was only fueled by the death of Glenowitz. The Washington Post shared a partial list of people and outlets that used Glenowitz's death to push the war on cops agenda, and I'm going to read them for you. And you can go...
Can you take a guess on who these might be?
Oh my God, yes you can. Do you want to try? Remember, it's before 2016. We got an election year. He's not included in this list.
Let's just go.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
You can read what they said if you go to our Works Cited.
Oh, Jesus. Okay.
So some of these people I don't even know. Lloyd Green at the Daily Beast, Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker.
Daily Beast, I talked about that.
I know, I saw it. Yeah.
Oh.
Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker, Pat Buchanan, Police Chief Rodney Jones, and the San Bernardino County Sun. NBC 5 Chicago, the Daily Mail, Texas Senator Ted Cruz, Megyn Kelly from Fox News, and more than...
Fox News?
I know. Half a dozen other Fox News personalities.
That was going to be my main guess, or just as a whole.
Mm-hmm. Milwaukee County Sheriff David Clark on Fox News. WorldNet Daily, Kate Pavlik, she's on Fox News, but it was a tweet of hers. John Cass at Town Hall. Richard Berry, president of the International Associations of Chiefs of Police to Reuters. New Jersey Governor Chris Christie. Infowars.com. Jim Pascoe, executive director of the Fraternal Order of Police. So something that is hilarious that was reported at the end of 2015 is that there had been a 23% decrease in police officers killed by gunfire that year. The year was actually considered to be the second safest year for police in the last half century.
Wow.
So talk about trying to make yourself the victim. There is no evidence that pointed to Glenowitz's death even being related to any movement of any kind.
Right.
On September 9th, the coroner, Thomas Rudd, reported that Glenowitz died from a single fatal gunshot wound to the torso. He couldn't determine, though, if Joe had died by accident, homicide, or suicide.
Okay.
He was having trouble understanding how anyone could have even gotten as close as they did to Glenowitz to kill him.
Okay.
Judd received a lot of backlash for the comments that he made about his death. The autopsy showed that Joe was shot twice. The first shot was in his right chest and was stopped by the bulletproof vest in his cell phone.
Oh.
The second shot was the fatal shot, and it was on the left side of his chest, 2 inches under the upper collar of his vest. But it was from a downward position.
Oh.
And that was why the coroner had his hang-ups about the homicide, because he couldn't figure out how he was shot that way.
Right.
Glenowitz had no defense wounds except for some of the scratches on his face, and he was relatively clean for someone who got in a supposed altercation.
Mm-hmm.
On September 11th, former Chicago police officer Joseph Bottigalia began calling police agencies and media outlets insisting that Glenowitz had shot himself intentionally. On September 13th, Bottigalia was charged with disorderly conduct after threatening officials for not declaring Glenowitz's death a suicide.
Oh, I mean, at this point, I'm kind of with him.
He was later sentenced to 1 year of supervision after pleading guilty.
Oh, wow.
Joe Glenowitz's family was outraged by the rumors that he committed suicide. They fully believed that he was killed in the line of duty. They talked about the plans that he was making for the future, which is not necessarily typical of people who are thinking of suicide, but there's also the point of, like, sometimes, you know, you being depressed is not going to be the only reason that you kill yourself.
No, yeah, absolutely.
So the forensic tests came back on September 21st, but the results didn't rule out any of the 3 possible deaths. So they essentially didn't help.
Wow.
On October 1st, they announced that Joe Glenowitz was shot twice by his own weapon, and there were signs of a struggle at the scene. But outside of the media, CSI investigators and even some of the Fox Lake police officers had their doubts about the scene because things were not adding up in this case.
Okay.
So, of course, the community went to a state of mourning after hearing the news of Joe Glenowitz. He was a beloved cop, and his death was unimaginable. Mm-hmm. He was the first Fox Lake cop killed in the line of duty ever.
Oh, no.
And with him being the first, people were so shocked that it was an experienced officer.
Right.
Flags were lowered at half-staff, and people from all over the country sent their prayers and condolences to the family and community.
Aww.
The Chicago Bears dedicated a preseason game to Joe Glenowitz. Aww. The day after Joe Glenowitz was killed, the community held a candlelight vigil despite the fact that there were dangerous killers still on the loose.
Wow.
His family was obviously devastated.
Yeah.
His family, community, and fellow police officers and coworkers were just so baffled by the fact that he was killed. Mm-hmm. On September 7th, Joe Glenowitz received a televised funeral with full military honors at his former high school. There was an 18-mile-long line of police vehicles. Many notable public officials and officers from all over the country came to pay their respects. Over 5,000 people showed up to the memorial, and community members were spread throughout the community showing their respect.
Wow.
His family received over $500,000 in donations that went into 20 different bank accounts. Police departments in the Chicago suburbs spent over $300,000 investigating Joe Glenowitz's death, and over $196,000 of that money went to overtime.
Wow.
Some officers were given overtime pay to attend Joe's funeral. Since the funeral happened on Labor Day, some of the officers were paid time and a half.
Oh my God.
The residents of those areas would be footing the bill for this investigation. November 4th. Investigators call a press conference with their findings of the investigation. Now, I don't know who the guy was talking because they didn't have like a little thing underneath, but I'm going to tell you what he said.
Okay.
We're here this morning to wrap up the investigation into the death of Lieutenant Charles Joe Glenowitz. This extensive investigation was concluded with an overwhelming amount of evidence that Glenowitz's death was a carefully planned stage suicide. We have determined that this stage suicide was the end result of extensive criminal acts that Glenowitz had been committing. Get your clown makeup ready. There are no winners here. Glenowitz committed the ultimate betrayal to the citizens he served and the entire law enforcement community. The facts of his actions proved he behaved for years in a manner completely contrary to the image he portrayed.
Oh, no.
Plot twist. Yeah, which is, it's so funny when you're like, oh, that's so sweet. I'm like, clown makeup. Clown makeup.
Oh, no.
So I also kind of have a trigger warning. I do talk about sexual assault and harassment in this.
Oh, my God.
Oh, he's a horrendous human being. He is horrendous.
Then I take back all of my sympathy.
Yes, I imagine you will. I imagine anyone will. Everyone did. So it actually turns out that there are a lot of people who didn't like him at all.
I thought with the suicide thing, I was like, okay, like, I can see that. Like, with the coroner's report, with this guy saying it was a suicide, like, oh, okay, like, you know, sad suicide. Didn't realize there was all this other stuff.
He took the easy way out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay.
So his public image of being honest, hardworking cop with an outstanding character was all a lie.
No.
Joe Glenowitz was actually a crooked cop with a long list of offenses. The 264 pages of internal documents reveal the contrasting aspects of Glenowitz's life, showcasing both the accommodations and the scandalous complaints. According to George Falenko, commander of the Lake County Major Crimes Task Force, he said, quote, "If I knew about the personnel file and I was a parent, I certainly wouldn't put my child in the Explorer program under his tutelage." Glenowitz's struggles with alcohol started as far back as May 1988, when he was found passed out in his trunk with the engines running full throttle on the shoulder of Illinois Highway Route 49.
Passed out in his trunk or passed out in his truck?
Sorry, truck.
Oh, God. I was like, how did he get there?
Passed out in his truck. I'm sorry.
Okay, makes a little more sense. Plot twist.
A Lake County Sheriff's deputy discovered him unconscious, unable to wake him.
Oh.
A Fox Lake police detective intervened and arranged for his truck to be towed. However, the following morning, Glenowitz couldn't even recall what happened and where he parked his truck, so he had reported it stolen.
Oh, no.
Until he was informed by the detective that it was actually towed.
When Joe's car was stolen, I asked him a few times, I said, did you park it somewhere and it got towed and you just can't remember where you parked it? How much did you drink that day?
Right.
He goes, no, Lauren, it was stolen. I said, are we sure? It was. But...
Yeah. Well, this was not. Glenowitz later admitted to consuming 6 beers and several shots after a volleyball game. In August 1988, Glenowitz skipped work after becoming intoxicated with just a beer and some shots, claiming that he hadn't been, drinking much lately and he was getting much better.
Right.
Yeah, it wasn't a problem though.
No. He could stop anytime he wants to.
He was subsequently suspended for 2 days. Further incidents occurred in 1999 and 2000 with wordings for tardiness, leading to his demotion from commander to sergeant in 2003 due to unspecified issues in the communications division under his supervision. But he was still ended up being a lieutenant. In 2003, a federal lawsuit against both the village and police alleged that Glenowitz, then a lieutenant, coerced a female department employee under his supervision into performing oral sex with him 5 times in 2000.
Oh.
The lawsuit further claimed that the woman, who also worked with Glenowitz in the Explorer unit overseeing training camps for teenagers, resigned from the Explorer program after reporting the alleged misconduct.
And nothing came from that, did it?
According to the suit, the police chief informed the woman that Glenowitz had admitted to the misconduct and recommended sexual addiction counseling for him along with a 30-day suspension. However, the sexual harassment lawsuit was dismissed by the court in 2005 due to missed deadlines for filing discovery responses by the woman and her attorney.
Of course it fucking was.
Subsequently, she lost the appeal in 2006. Additionally, issues arose for Glenowitz in 2009 when a letter purportedly from anonymous members of the Fox Lake Police Department had accused him of various misconducts, including sexual harassment, threatening a dispatcher, frequenting village establishments with women other than his wife, being highly intoxicated in public. Bouncers at local bars often complained about Glenowitz's aggressive drunk behavior. He ran up a $300 tab at a local tavern and skipped out on the bill.
Oh my God.
For using his squad car for family vacations in Wisconsin, allowing Explorer Post members to wear police attire. He also let his friends use the free authorities gas pump that was reserved for police, other city officials to refill their city cars.
Yeah.
So they were getting gas for free when they were not.
Wow.
And groping women at department Christmas parties. And getting a tattoo while on duty using a free certificate donated to the department.
Oh my God.
Despite these allegations, the letter was filed in Glenowitz's personal records, and he remained employed. Investigating officers were surprised by the extensive allegations against Glenowitz. Detective Chris Covelli of the Lake County Major Crimes Task Force remarked on the unusual nature of a lieutenant with such a substantial personnel file filled with allegations. Mm-hmm. So one of the big things that they talked about was, the blue wall of silence.
Oh, yeah.
And how the common culture of that is, you don't see something and say something. You see something, you don't say something.
Right, exactly.
Exactly. And the guy on the podcast emphasized, he was like, both in this program and like in the academy, that's not what they say. Of course, they say
Say something.
Right.
Wait, say something.
That too. And to always report it. But the fact of the matter is that people don't for various reasons, whether they feel that loyalty or not.
Right.
Police officers who are whistleblowers are treated horribly.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of times, what happens is these police officers have been on the force for years. And so it's basically trying to go after someone in power.
Yeah.
And that's very difficult to do.
Yep.
So according to a document obtained by CNN, one of the officers involved in the Glonowitz case described him as a golden child who likely had compromising information on someone within the department to retain his position. The current mayor of Fox Lakes, Donnie Schmidt, stated that he had not received any complaints against Glonowitz during his tenure as mayor and village trustee, noting that he only had access to employee files in cases of disciplinary issues. As if this wasn't fucking disciplinary issue. Glenowitz's real troubles began in March 2014 when a new village administrator, Anne Marin, assumed her role. Little did Marin know that Glenowitz saw her as an adversary. His perception shifted when Marin insisted on an audit of the Explorer's Post's finances, roughly a year into her tenure.
Ooh.
By this time, investigators uncovered that Glenowitz had allegedly misappropriated tens of thousands of dollars from the Explorer Post for personal expenses, such as his mortgage, health clubs, porn, travel. Porn is free. Like, why are you paying for it? And even Starbucks purchases.
Wow.
Text messages explained with trusted confidants highlight Glenowitz's mounting anxiety in response to Marion's inquiries. The messages unearthed after his death revealed insights into his state of mind. Despite attempting to erase all the messages from his cell phone, he might have also, well, we'll get there. Before his suicide, federal investigators managed to recover them, totaling a staggering 6,500 pages.
Whoa.
Yeah, just because it's deleted doesn't mean it's gone.
Right.
FBI can find it.
They can.
In these messages, Glenowitz contemplated retirement from the police force as a means of escape the situation.
Yeah.
Because that was also like the big thing. Like, oh my gosh, he was a month away from retirement. Like, oh my gosh.
How could it happen?
Mm-hmm. Well, additionally, he communicated with an individual referred to as individual number 2 in May 2015, and it was later revealed that this individual was his son, DJ, declined when approached by CNN for a comment. Glenowitz expressed disdain for Marion in his correspondence with his son, insinuating that she posed a threat to him. He wrote, quote, "She hates me. If she gets a hold of the old checking account, I'm pretty well fucked." In response, his son suggested, hopefully she decides to get a couple of drinks in her and she gets a DUI.
Oh my God.
Glenowitz then responded with disturbing remarks about potential scenarios involving Marin, including references to the Volobog State Natural Area, known for its associations with dark humor regarding disposing of bodies in the nearby Channel Lakes that, Al Capone used.
Oh.
Yeah. Later, in June 2015, Glenowitz messaged individual number 1, which CNN later confirmed was his wife, admitting to using the Explorer Post account for a $624.70 flight. Meanwhile, Glenowitz's wife's attorneys issued a statement asserting that Glenowitz had been depositing his personal funds into the Explorer Post bank account and urged the community, law enforcement, and media to avoid jumping to conclusions. Another text exchange with his son referenced unspecified expenses totaling in $1,600 and $777. Glenowitz expressed concern, stating, quote, "You are borrowing from that other account, or you will be visiting me in jail." And jail is all capitalist.
Of course.
Capitalized. He also discussed lending money to his son for truck repairs, potentially to deflect suspicion. Simultaneously, Glenowitz considered applying for a police chief position in a neighboring community, indicating to his son that he was taking risks to support him financially, which is hilarious because his son used him applying to these police chief positions, as a reason for why he wouldn't have committed suicide.
Okay.
He emphasized that he needed the need to cover his tracks, especially given the animosity from village administrator Marin towards him and the Explorer program. As tensions escalated, Marin's increased authority within the village administration brought about changes in leadership within the police department. Glenowitz lamented to the former police chief about Marin's demands for a comprehensive inventory and financial report from the Explorer Post, expressing his frustration with the situation with text abbreviation FML. So, what really happened on September 1st?
Yeah.
So that morning, Glenowitz woke up, bought his usual cigarettes from a convenience store, and headed towards the Explorer Post. His task for the day on September 1st was to complete an equipment inventory for the village administrator. However, instead of going there, he drove to the abandoned factory. Upon arrival, he radioed to dispatch about checking on 2 white males and a black male.
So, what was he trying to give as his, or I guess we won't know what his excuse was to go to that abandoned factory?
For these suspicious men.
Yeah, but how did he know that there were suspicious men there if he was supposed to be doing inventory?
That's not relevant, apparently.
Ah.
Yeah.
I feel like that's pretty relevant. I'm a detective, I mean.
Duh. He then reported that the suspects were fleeing towards the nearby swamp requesting backup. When backup arrived, that's when they heard what seemed to be a gunshot. Later, they discovered Glenowitz's body in the dense woods near the marsh. He had sustained 2 gunshot wounds. One was blocked by his bulletproof vest, while the other penetrated his torso at a downward angle. He was pronounced dead at the scene. So remember, it also hit his cell phone.
Yeah, right.
Some say, did he do that first?
Did he do that first?
Yeah, so that his cell phone was fucked.
Because here I am thinking, how lucky it hit the phone.
Yeah, no, that was probably on purpose. Given the scattered nature of his equipment about 200 feet from his police body, suspected foul play and initiated the widespread manhunt. Unbeknownst to them at the time, Glenowitz had taken his own life less than a month before his scheduled retirement.
Wow.
So as of today, once news of his betrayal became public, many organizations that had raised or donated money for the Glenowitz's family demanded its return.
Yeah.
They don't have to return it because it's considered a gift.
Right.
Tributes and memorials were swiftly taken down, including the largest one in front of the Fox Lakes Police Department. The memorial sign with his nickname G.I. Joe was changed to G.I. Joke. The Law Enforcement Officers Memorial Fund, based in Washington, D.C., announced that they wouldn't include Glenowitz's name on the marble monument for fallen officers, and his Officer Down Memorial webpage was removed. Glenowitz went from being seen as a hero to being viewed as a criminal. On January 27, 2016, Glenowitz's wife, Melody, was accused of 4 counts of using charitable funds without permission for personal gain and 2 counts of money laundering.
Oh.
She pleaded not guilty.
Bad for her, too.
Nah.
Okay.
It's hit or miss whether or not she actually knew.
What she was taking money from?
Right. Okay. So if you go based on what happens to her, she doesn't seem like much of a victim. But if she really is innocent, then it's like, okay, she lost her husband, her children lost their father. Like, that aspect of it is obviously very tragic and very sad.
Right.
But I don't think she's innocent. I think she fucking knows.
I feel like with how much he took.
Right. And how he was, the money that she got, she put into 20 different bank accounts.
Right. When you said that, I was like, trying to think, like, okay, if each kid has a bank account, she has a bank account, the funeral accounts, and I was like, what the hell are all the other ones?
Exactly. So on February 2nd, 2016, authorities took control of 5 bank accounts suspected of holding embezzled money. In June 2020, a judge allowed text messages between Melody and her late husband to be used as evidence. On February 18th, 2022, Melody accepted a plea deal admitting to deceptive practice and a Class 4 felony, which is a Class 4 felony in Illinois.
Wow.
Other charges against her were dropped, and on April 12th, 2002, she was sentenced to 2 years of probation and, like, a set amount of hours for community service, which I guess she somehow got on the rehabilitation plan. So if she completes everything, then it's wiped from her record.
Oh.
Yeah. Glenowitz's son, Donald DJ Glenowitz, also came under investigation after texts were found between him and his father discussing loans and ways to hide expenses. However, the case against him was closed because investigators couldn't prove that he knew about the source of the funds from his father's involvement with the youth program. The Fox Lakes Explorer program has since been disabled.
I would figure, yes.
Yeah. And that is Joe, G.I. Joe Glenowitz.
So parts of it sounded familiar, but
if you saw the picture of this guy,
show me.
it would that's what's really going to help you ring a bell, because that's what helped me. And he looks like a fucking guy that would do all this shit.
Yes.
Like how are you going to forget a face like that?
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Whew.
Yeah. And once I saw the image of him, and I was like, oh, I do remember this. I remember the pouring tributes, I remember it before they found out he was a fraud.
Right, like when you feel bad and
yes.
you're like, oh my God.
Yes. And I remember the whole Black Lives Movement thing was coming up. And I don't remember my exact thoughts at the time. I was a junior in college. But I don't think, like, I think I probably was on the side of the media at the time. Like, whatever they were saying.
Well, yeah, I mean,
you know?
that's how it is, honestly.
It was unfortunately quite some time before I realized the media's probably lying.
Yeah.
And then I remember it being like, oh, he actually committed suicide because and I only remembered the embezzling. I did not know about all the other stuff.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, fuck.
Jeez.
So, yeah, there were a lot of different reactions to it. A lot of the people in the youth program, which is kind of understandable, were like, I can recognize that what he's done is not okay, but I also have these memories of who he was to me.
Oh, that's really hard.
You know, and it's hard to let go of that kind of thing. I know that the police chief at the time, I think he resigned or maybe he retired, but I don't think he faced really any consequences.
Wow.
And the lead investigator also resigned or retired since he was like, it's a homicide, and it was not.
Yeah.
So, and the lady, she did not know that he even felt that way about her. Like, she had no idea.
When you said her name, that name sounded familiar to us.
Yeah. He even tried to get a, like, member of a local gang to kill her. Yeah.
Why didn't you include that?
I forgot until just now. Like you said, there's so much out there.
I bet.
I highly recommend listening to the podcast because they go into much more detail about all the offenses against him and things like that. So I highly recommend it. And there's article upon article. I even included the video of like the bomb drop of them coming onto the TV and being like, yeah, he committed suicide. He's actually a really shitty person. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So I felt like ours were kind of similar. Both people that were coming off as these innocent, well-rounded humans.
Right.
When really they are at the fault of their own downfall.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Wow.
It's always good to tell the truth, folks.
Well, what a good birthday episode.
I'm glad you liked it.
This one was a good one.
Yeah, I think so too.
I'm glad I picked this topic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad you did too. It's fun.
Yeah, it was fun.
There's a lot of plot twists out there.
There are.
When I was reading some of them, I was like, bro, this is insane.
I know.
Whew.
Yeah.
So,
Well, thanks for listening, everyone. Thanks for celebrating my 30th with me.
since you guys will hear this next Wednesday, remember to wish Lauren happy birthday on Saturday.
Oh, thank you.
Because that'll be her actual birthday.
Yeah, my 30th on a Saturday. Like, how good is that?
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's pretty freaking good.
I'd say so. I, like, shocked myself when I was looking. I was like, it's on a Saturday?
Mine is before Thanksgiving this year.
Oh, good.
Although
Beautiful.
I'm not going out of town because no one's going to go out of town before they probably go out of town
Yeah.
for Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
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 I'll be here.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
It's because your family's here.
All right. Well, please rate and review us on social media.
Yes.
All the places.
Send us pictures to our email.
ascarystatepodcast@gmail.com.
Leo, I apologize. I still haven't made your stickers. Hopefully by the time this one comes out, I have mailed them and you have them.
So I guess this will be the last time as you are hearing me as a 29-year-old saying stay scary.
I will still be 29, so
But me as one.
sounds like a you problem.
So stay scary.
And stay safe.